What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some insane battles in the Spring Cup featuring 3 newly built level 50 Pokemon in Shellder, Pumpkaboo and Lileep. Now as you can imagine, it's not easy to run a team like this. It also cost me a lot of Stardust to power up all 3 Pokemon, so before we get into the battles, please make sure you leave a like on the video to show your support and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, because I'm trying to get to 30k subscribers by the end of the season. With that being said, let's just get straight into the question of the day. Who do you think is the most underrated Pokemon Go content creator right now? Now this doesn't actually have to be for PvP content creators, it can be for the game in general. Just let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, leave Shellder into Pelipper, so this is a fairly neutral matchup, but unfortunately for Shellder, since it does only reach 1210 CP, it's going to be losing basically every neutral matchup in this cup, but they're going to go for a resisted Weather Ball, then swap, catch the charge move onto a Bomb of Snow, but that's fine with me. Icy Wind is still going to be neutral damage, and I will be able to go for a second Icy Wind, unfortunately losing the CMP tie, so I'm going to be shielding this up. It is the Energy Ball, so that is good for me. Now Icy Wind still not really going to put them into farm down range. The opponent is going to let it go through though, so here what I'm going to do is try to catch the next charge move from the Bomb of Snow. Hopefully this is just an Energy Ball, and it is, which is double debuffed and resisted, so doesn't do an awful lot of damage. They're now going to come in with a Trevenant. I will be able to make it to a foul play, losing CMP unfortunately, but this is just a Seed Bomb, so Seed Bomb will not be enough damage to take us out there, and I can go for the foul play. Foul play should be grabbing a shield from the Trevenant, but they can get the Shadow Claw farm down. Now I'm going to wait out my Switch Lock as long as possible, come in with my Lileep, and I should be able to tank anything they throw, but I might just shield anyways. So let's see, I'm going to shield at the last second. It is the Shadow Ball, and the opponent's going to swap back into Pelipper, so I can go straight for the Ancient Power. Ancient Power, unfortunately, not going to deal as much damage as a Rock Slide from a Cradilly, but it still does get them fairly low. We can also tank the Weather Ball. I'm then going to bank the charge move, swap into my Shellder, barely get the Ice Shard farm down, come out with an Icy Wind loaded, which is going to be huge, as this will grab the final shield from the opponent, and here I think an Ancient Power will be enough damage to KO from this range, and it does take out the Trevenant, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next battle, we see Shellder into Trevenant. So this actually isn't that bad of a matchup, especially since I'm in a fairly low elo range. A lot of the opponents kind of just panic when they see a Shellder, throw their charge move straight away, allows me to get a full Ice Shard through, which should actually allow me, if I do get a successful bait with the Razor Shell, to make it to an Icy Wind before they make it to Seed Bomb number 2. But actually, I then panic as well. I go for the Razor Shell, but I'm then going to swap, catch a charge move once again onto my Pumpkaboo, and it is just a resisted Seed Bomb. And once again, we bait out a Pelipper, which is okay with me. Gonna let this move go through, just gonna be a resisted Weather Ball. In all honesty, it doesn't make an awful lot of sense for the opponent to full send a Hurricane, because by the time they get there, they can just Wing Attack farm me down, but they let the Grass Knot go through. That does huge damage, and then they're gonna throw a Weather Ball at the last second. It will be taking out Pumpkaboo, but they're not gonna have any residual energy, and I can come in with my Lileep, go for the Bullet Seed farm down, and they come in with a Galarian Weezing. So I'm gonna go for the Ancient Power straight away, and Lileep can take neutral damage from every charge move that they can throw, so I'm not going to shield. Lileep also has some decent bulk. They go for a Sludge, doesn't do too much damage. I'm then going to watch out for a catch. The opponent goes for the catch, and we're able to hold on to the energy, and then able to swap, successfully catch the next charge move. But the opponent's going to fully undercharge the Sludge there. That's a very interesting play. We're now going to go for a Razor Shell, but unfortunately, this isn't going to do much damage, so they choose to no shield, and they get a full Fairy Wind farm down. So this is looking actually kind of scary right now. I'm going to shield this up. The opponent goes for a Sludge. We're going to go for the Ancient Power. Ancient Power will be carrying from this range, so they're going to use their final shield. We actually get a boost, which doesn't really help me here, as they don't make it to an Overheat, but Ancient Power number 2 takes them out, and we get a second unnecessary boost. It's always the unnecessary boost there, but we're able to take out the Weezing there and take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see a Bomb of Snow in the lead, so this is an okay matchup. I'm definitely going to shield this up. This is enough energy for the Energy Ball, and it is the Energy Ball, so happy to shield there. Gonna go straight for the Icy Wind. And of course we are running Ice Shard and Icy Wind, so we've got the same pacing as something like a Dugong, so we will just barely outpace them to the next charge move. Icy Wind, number 2, gonna get them low, and once again we're gonna swap into our Pumpkaboo, and we are once again able to catch a double debuffed energy ball. The opponent's gonna come in with a Roserade. They are running Bullet Seed though, so whilst this is gonna be a super effective weather ball, we will live this just barely. Gonna go for a foul play here, and if the opponent lets this go through, I think we can farm them down, so they will be using their shield, but that will allow me to make it to another foul play before they get the Bullet Seed farm down, and foul play is going to grab both shields from the opponent. So we're now going to come in with the Lilleep. We are going to let this first move go through here. The opponent goes for a Weather Ball, and we are going to continue to overfarm in this matchup. Honestly, this might be a Leaf Storm, so I'm going to shield. It's just another Weather Ball, and we are going to throw on CMP, and unfortunately, they do make it to another Weather Ball, but that's fine with me. Still not going to do too much damage here. We're going for the Ancient Power. Ancient Power will, of course, take out the Roserade from this range, and they come in with a Jellicent. So I'm actually going to swap. I tried to catch a Resisted Surf onto my shoulder, knowing that, unfortunately, Grass Knot will not be enough damage to take out the Jellicent, but the opponent does correctly overfarm by the perfect amount there. Even chip damage from a Razor Shell would put them into Grass Knot range, but unfortunately the opponent plays the end game perfectly. They're able to go for another Shadow Ball, taking out my Lilleep, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to the opponent, really well played. Into the next battle, and this was the first battle I did with the team, and honestly I was thinking, as long as I don't see a Dugong in the lead, I think we should be fine, because I have a game plan for basically everything aside from Dugong. So I was thinking here, you know what, I'll just stay in or wait for them to throw, but they're just not throwing a charge move. So I end up getting off a Razor Shell and an Icy Wind. Also, I couldn't remember what it is Razor Shell does. I know it's got a percentage chance to debuff my opponent, but I didn't know what it debuffs, and of course it doesn't help when you can't actually see the text showing me whether it's debuffing their attack or their defense. I did find out in the end that it is going to be debuffing the defense, which doesn't really help me too much here, but we're going to come in with the Lily. We did at least go for an Icy Wind and debuff their attack, so their Icy Wind doesn't do too much damage. I'm still going to go for Grass Knot here, as Ancient Power after the debuff probably won't take them out there. We actually grab a shield from the opponent, so I'm definitely going to be shielding in return. They go for a second Icy Wind there. I'm going to overfarm once again. I still don't think Ancient Power would quite take them out, so we go for the Grass Knot. It does take out the Dugong, and the opponent's going to have a Roserade in the back once again. We've already seen we can just barely live a Weather Ball here, and because we are, well, fully healthy right now, they're not going to be able to Bullet Seed farm me down, so we're now going to go for a Foul Play. Foul Play should be grabbing the final shield from the opponent. It does grab that final shield. They are going to overfarm here. At this point, I definitely can't afford to shield, because they would just barely outpace me to another Weather Ball. So instead, we come in with our Lilleep, and we need something incredibly weak to Grass in the back if we want to win this game, and ask and you shall receive. There is a Shadow Marshtomp in the back. Possibly the best thing we could see. Grass Knot fully one-shots them. We've got the Ancient Power loaded. This should be enough damage to KO, but it actually doesn't take them out there. But they were still one Bullet Seed away from the next Weather Ball, so I'm able to farm them down with a double resisted Bullet Seed and take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Galarian Weezing in the lead. So I'm going to stay in with my shoulder. The opponent's going to swap into Poliwrath. I do hold onto the energy, but I was very slow to swap out there. So I'm going to shield the first charge move. Honestly, I've got no idea how much damage an Icy Wind does. Honestly, I didn't really even look into the stats of these Pokemon before I built them, which is kind of crazy. But we are going to one-shot them with a Grass Knot, even with a debuff to our attack. They're now going to come in with a Trevenant, so that's fine with me. Going to go straight for the foul play here. Should be grabbing a shield from the opponent, but the opponent might be able to go for a full Shadow Claw farm down. Let's see, can they get there in time? No, instead they're going to swap, but this is still a very smart play from the opponent, making sure they throw a charge move before I can bank any of the energy there. We're now going to come in with our Lilleep, and I'm going to let the first move the first move go through. Just going to be a brutal swing. Didn't really expect them to go for an overheat straight away. We're now going to go for the Ancient Power. Ancient Power is not going to be boosted, unfortunately. I should still just barely live an overheat here, so I let it go through. It is the overheat, and at this point I'm going to throw my Ancient Power immediately. Is this enough damage to KO? Yes, it does take them out. We actually get an unnecessary boost once again. That's so annoying. Why are you boosting there? It makes no sense. We've got back-to-back Razor Shells, but that was a CMP tie. So if they've got back-to-back charge moves, unfortunately, they will be winning CMP here. And of course, Seed Bomb is going to be taking out my shoulder, and they can just Shadow Claw, farm down my Lilleep, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. but GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, awful lead of course. Gonna be swapping into my Lilip here. I think some battles I swapped into my Pumpkaboo. I found Lilip was just a better safe swap because whilst it does have a lot more weaknesses, it also kind of just fights back against a lot more Pokemon in this meta. So as you can see, obviously we've got the rock coverage for this Pelipper. Basically, the only thing it gets completely hard-walled by is going to be a Ferrothorn, or there are obviously a few other Pokemon, but they're not going to be as common in the meta. At this point, I'm going to shield this up here. I think this is the safe play. They will make it to another Weather Ball, but I don't think that will KO. We're going to go for the Ancient Power, and Ancient Power, unfortunately, doesn't quite take out the Pelipper there, which is a bit annoying, but it is what it is. At this point, Hurricane will definitely take us out there, but we can come in with the Shelter, get the full farm down. We come in with the Pumpkaboo, and they've got a Ferrothorn in the back, and this is actually looking really good for us. I've still got one shield, so gonna go straight for the Foul Play. Foul Play doesn't do an awful lot of damage, but these Astonishes are actually really adding up, so I'm gonna shield this up. It is the Flash Cannon, and now I can overfarm quite considerably in this matchup. Of course, these Bullet Seeds are doing almost no damage whatsoever, so Foul Play takes out the Ferrothorn, and at this point, this should be game over. Grass Knot is gonna be dealing big damage up against the Lantern. Of course, no one charge move will be taking me out from the Lantern, so the opponent is just going to concede the match there. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next game, we see Shelter into a Romatisse. So a bit of an awkward matchup here. I do believe it's got like Thunderbolt as coverage. I could be wrong there, so correct me in the comments if I am wrong. But we're going to go straight for an Icy Wind. We are going to get the debuff, of course, but they don't shield that, and we swap into our Pumpkaboo. Unfortunately, we are met by a Bomber Snow. So whereas if we swapped into Lilip, whilst we are taking super effective damage from the ice, we also hit for super effective damage with the Ancient Powers, but we grab a shield anyway. So at this point, just going to take that shield advantage. We are going to come in with our Lilip here. Ancient Power actually isn't going to be enough damage to KO an Bomber Snow from this range, so it's not looking too good for us here. Gonna go for it straight away anyways, though. Hopefully the opponent does shield and we get a boost or something. Ancient Power is going to be shielded. We're now going to swap into my Shelter, and they respond with a Lantern. But this actually gives me an opportunity to farm up a ton of energy on my Lilip here. But I do believe they did just bank a charge move on their Bomber Snow, so it's not going to be that helpful unless this Grass Knot does take out the Lantern. But Grass Knot is not enough damage to KO there. Surf actually wouldn't KO either, but I kind of need to preserve some of my health, so we are going to shield that up, go for the Bullet Seed farm down. We've got back-to-back Ancient Powers almost loaded actually, so we're going to throw the first one straight away. Ancient Power is going to be no shielded. Well, they've got no shields remaining, and we get another unnecessary boost. Oh my gosh, that's so annoying, but the opponent's able to farm me down there, and we do unfortunately lose that game. But I think like I said, a Bomber Snow had a charge move loaded anyway, so not a lot we could have done anyways. But GG's to that opponent. Into the next battle, Ferrothorn in the lead. Obviously an awful lead, but we can't swap into our Lilip because we can only deal either double resisted or single resisted damage, so might as well just stay in, go for the Icy Wind, come in with our Pumpkaboo, and at this point, even though they are debuffed, I'm actually going to shield this up because Flash Cannon would do quite a lot of damage. I can now considerably overfarm in this matchup here. Farm 2 back-to-back Foul Play, so even if they do shield here, at this point I'm looking pretty good. And Foul Play will be taking out the Ferrothorn. They're now going to come in with a Galarian Weezing. I'm going to go for 3 Astonishes, go for a Grass Knot, as Grass Knot is going to be hitting a lot harder than the Foul Play. We are now going to tank whatever they throw. They go for the Overheat here, and now I'm going to go for an Ancient Power. Can we get another boost here? Hopefully this time it does help us. And Ancient Power does actually finally get a useful boost for us. Lilip actually getting so many boosts here. It's just annoying that most of them didn't actually help me whatsoever. But here we're now going to go for an Ancient Power straight away, hoping it is something like a Lantern in the back. But no, it's actually a Pelipper, and we are barely not able to make it to the charge move. That is so painful. But then the opponent gives me a potential win condition. They didn't farm to the potential Hurricane, so now I'm going to overfarm here. The opponent throws, giving me extra energy. So now can we make it 2 back-to-back Grass Knots? I don't think so. So I'm going to bait with a Foul Play. I need them to shield. They do shield, and we are barely able to get there one turn before they make it to the next Weather Ball. And a Grass Knot will be taking out the Pelipper, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we see Shelter into Trevenant. So once again, just going to stay in this matchup, and they're actually going to safe swap into Lantern. So once again, a little bit slow to swap out there, but we come in with the Pumpkaboo. Possibly should have come in with Lilip just because it is a little bit bulkier here, and I feel like Pumpkaboo is still going to be quite good up against their Trevenant, especially if we come out with like a shield advantage. But anyways, we go for the Grass Knot. We throw on the CMP tie with the Surf, and I'm actually going to shield this up just because I don't know if they land that Surf, maybe they can fully Spark Farm me down. But we're not going to take that risk. We are going to go for another Grass Knot here, and Grass Knot from this range will be grabbing the final shield from the opponent. Then I'm going to swap back into their Trevenant. We barely make it to a foul play. I'm hoping I can swap back into my Shelter and then get a snipe with the Ice Shard. It doesn't quite do enough damage, so I go for the Razor Shell. That also loses CMP, so unfortunately I'm just going to sacrifice the Shelter. Did I just throw this game away here? It's going to be close, but we're going to come in with the Lilip, and we're not able to get a Bullet Seed farm down. That is really painful. It will just be a Seed Bomb, so I can tank that reasonably well, but it depends what they've got in the back, and they've got a Steel Wing Empoleon, so taking that damage there from that Seed Bomb is really going to cost me in this battle, unfortunately. So we are obviously going to have to shield this up. I'm going to make sure the opponent isn't able to make a catch here, so I overfarm. I go for one extra Bullet Seed. We're going to go for the Grass Knot. Grass Knot will, of course, take them out from this range. They've got a charge we've loaded, and we are able to catch it onto Pumpkaboo, but how much residual energy do they have? Can we outpace them? The answer is no, unfortunately not. They make it to yet another Surf. Surf takes out Lilip, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we see another Trevenant in the lead. So once again, just going to stay in this lead matchup. This time the opponent isn't going to be safe swapping out into any other Pokemon. We're just going to shield up the Seed Bomb. Once again, they do throw straight away, and they're going to come in with Hisuian Electrode. So going to go straight for the Icy Wind. Icy Wind is going to hit for super effective damage, debuff their attack, and we can also now swap into Pumpkaboo, and I can just go for a full Astonish farm down. Now, of course, Wild Charge is resisted. It still hits fairly hard, but we did debuff them as well, so we can tank two very comfortably and go for the full Astonish farm down, and the opponent is going to come back in with their Trevenant, so we're going to go for a Foul Play. Foul Play should be grabbing the first shield from the opponent. It does exactly that, but they can get a full Shadow Claw farm down. Now, I do believe I've got a Razor Shell loaded. Of course, that's not going to hit full super effective damage. Actually, it will be resisted damage. But does the opponent know that it's just a Razor Shell? No, they end up shielding. They also get debuffed there, so we can just go for a full Ice Shard farm down, but they come in with a Shadow Empoleon. Now here, I think I make a slight mistake here. I think I overfarmed a little bit too much. Of course, that's not going to do that much damage. I was hoping to debuff their defense because I don't know if a Grass Knot will actually KO here, but they go for a Drill Peck. They don't go for the Hydro Cannon. Absolutely huge for me. Mistake on the opponent's end. Grass Knot actually does take them out there, but I'm not going to be able to make it to the Ancient Power before the opponent makes it to a Seed Bomb. Have I thrown away this game? Seed Bomb takes us out, but we are barely able to live a Shadow Claw, get the Ice Shard farm down, and I'm still able to take out the Trevenant there and take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game, we see Marwile in the lead. So we're going to stay in with the Shelter, of course, resisting the Fire Fang damage. This is just going to be a power-up punch, which isn't going to hit too hard here, but of course, we'll start ramping up their Fire Fang damage. We are now going to go for a Razor Shell. Razor Shell actually grabs a shield there, and we make it to a second Razor Shell. So we debuff their defense. This is now going to do more damage. It still doesn't do much damage. It's not a very hard-hitting move, but we make it to a third Razor Shell. And if the opponent wants to maintain alignment here, they're going to have to double shield, and we get another debuff to their defense, which is huge. Now I can just come in with my Pumpkaboo, go for a full Astonish farm down, just going to be play it safe here, shield up the Iron Head, and they come in with a Shadow Victory Bell. So we're going to overfarm here as much as possible, go for the Foul Play. I hope this does KO from this range, but it actually doesn't, so I swap into my Lilip, and the opponent's got a Lantern in the back, so things are looking perfect for us right now. I can safely let this move go through. Of course, Surf not going to deal too much damage here. We could live another Surf if they do make it there, but we're going to go for the Grass Knot. Grass Knot is going to get them fairly low. We do now get them into the red health range. Just going to fire off the Ancient Power here, play it safe. Ancient Power takes out the Lantern. The opponent going to go for the Razor Leaf farm down, but we're able to make it to yet another Ancient Power. And Ancient Power, of course, takes out the Victory Bell, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into next game we see Slowbro in the lead, so I'm going to swap out into my Leap here, and the opponent's going to respond with a Shadow Marwal, and I'm going to overfarm here, go for an Ancient Power. We did farm up quite a lot. I am Purified as well, so the opponent might shield thinking it's a return, which still is resisted, but of course it would still hit quite hard. We're now going to go for the harder hitting Grass Knot, which does some pretty decent damage, and at this point I'm actually going to shield here. I've got quite a lot of energy. They full send the Iron Head, so we're now going to go for an Ancient Power. This still wouldn't quite take them out here, but Ancient Power is going to grab the final shield from the opponent, and the opponent should just be at a power-up punch here, and power-up punch is not going to KO. We make it to the Grass Knot, and Leleep is going to be able to flip switch advantage up against a Shadow Marwal, which is pretty crazy. Now they come back in with the Slowbro, and we are going to come in with the Pumpkaboo, and I make a huge mistake here. I didn't realise they were already at 5 confusions. That's an Ice Beam. That does huge damage. And we do make it to a foul play here. But a foul play actually will not be enough damage to take out the Slowbro. And they've got a Lantern in the back. So if we just shielded up against the Slowbro there, we could have very easily won that game with the Pumpkaboo, but big mistake from me there. But GG's to that opponent. Into next battle, another Water Confusion user in the form of Bruxish. This time they're going to say swap, we're going to say swap into Leap, and the opponent responds with the Empoleon. We're going to go for the Grass Knot, and the opponent is going to make it to a charge move. But if they don't send the Hydro Cannon here, if once again they make a mistake and go for a Drill Peck, we're going to be making it to the Grass Knot, and Grass Knot is going to grab both shields from the opponent. So interesting play from the opponent so far. Unfortunately, Shelder doesn't really have anywhere to go so far, so we're actually just not going to bring it in at all. We're going to come in with the Pumpkaboo. They're going to go for a Drill Peck, and I will overfarm in this matchup, and the opponent's actually going to swap into Superior. So now I'm going to swap Catch the Move onto my Shelder. We also get an Ice Shard in for free. We catch the Aerial Ace, which doesn't do an awful lot of damage. We're now going to full send an Icy Wind, but unfortunately, we end up losing CMP with a Shelder, which is crazy, up against a Superior. But now we're going to go for a foul play. Hopefully this will put them into farm down range, but foul play doesn't actually do that much damage, and then we lose CMP with the Pumpkaboo as well. Honestly, I thought Superior was supposed to be bulky, but unfortunately we are losing CMP with both our Pokemon here, so this is unfortunately game over. We do undercharge, but it's just not going to save me now. They come back in with the Empoleon. There's no point me throwing here, as the opponent does have energy on their Bruxish, but they're able to take me out with a Drill Peck there, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to the opponent there. Into next game we see Pelipper in the lead once again. So once again, going to be a fairly neutral lead matchup. Once again, they are just going to go for a Weather Ball here. But we've seen already, they can just go straight Weather Ball in this matchup and win in the Zero Shield scenario. But we're going to go for an Icy Wind. Icy Wind is going to be no shielded here. They can go for another Weather Ball, but we will be able to make it to at least a Razor Shell before they do get the full farm down. And unfortunately this isn't going to be enough to KO, but it does grab a shield there, as the opponent doesn't know the moveset or the counts for a Shelder, which, to be honest, I don't blame them. But we're now going to come in with our Pumpkaboo. I don't expect them to make it to a Hurricane. This certainly is not a Hurricane, so we can safely let the resisted Weather Ball go through, get the full Astonish farm down, and the opponent's going to come in with a Ferrothorn. So this is good news for me. Of course, my Lily doesn't want to see Ferrothorn whatsoever, so we go for the foul play. The opponent's then going to swap into a Bomber Snow, and we're going to come in with our Leleep. Now, the opponent throws on alignment there, so that's huge. We get the we get the Bullet Seed in for free. Now we can go for an Ancient Power. Of course, this isn't going to hit as hard as a Rock Slide from Credilli, but it does grab the final shield from the opponent. At this point, I'm definitely going to have to shield up the Weather Ball here. I can make it to the Ancient Power, but I actually don't know if I will make it to another Charge Move before they fully farm me down. But the opponent is going to end up throwing their energy anyway, so that's huge for me. At this point, we should be looking good. We can come in with the Pumpkaboo. The opponent's actually going to make a catch onto their Ferrothorn, but I think they're in perfect range where I can just full send the foul play and then Astonish farm them all the way down. They are 3 Bullet Seeds away from the next Power Whip. Can we get the full farm down in time? Yes, we are able to do so. They don't have a Charge Move on the Abomasnow, so foul play will be enough damage to take out the Abomasnow, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to the opponent there. Into the next battle, we see Shelder into Lantern. So once again, not great. Gonna say swap into my Leleep this time around, and the opponent responds with a Wall Range. So they're also once again gonna throw on alignment, so I get a full Bullet Seed in for free. And this is a matchup that we can actually fit because, of course, unlike the a Bomber Snow, we are hitting for super effective damage with the Bullet Seeds and the Grass Knots, and whilst Ancient Power isn't enough damage to KO, with a few more Bullet Seeds, I can take them out after landing a Grass Knot, so I'm definitely going to double shield here, flip switch advantage, and let's see what the opponent has. They're going to come in with the Bomber Snow, so this is actually not looking too good for me now. I was just saying about how it was pretty good up against the Wall Rain compared to a Bomber Snow, but they've also got a Bomber Snow, so yeah, this isn't looking too good. They're going to go for an Icy Wind. Icy Wind will be taking me out. We're just going to come in with the shoulder and just fully sacrifice it at this point, but the opponent's going to overfarm. We're going to swap at the exact same time as them. They swap back into Lantern, and we might just have a slither of hope here, but we're going to have to play this endgame perfectly. So we're going to overfarm. We should go for the Grass Knot on the CMP tie. This is what I should have done here, because of course we're going to get so low to the point where actually it doesn't matter that I've got 100 energy, because Foul Play will not be taking out a Bomber Snow, and the opponent can just commit to a full Powder Snow farm down and have so much loaded energy to throw into my shelter. So yeah, unfortunately this will now be game over. We can go for an Icy Wind, but we're going to be losing CMP, and of course a Grass Knot will be, Energy Ball will be taking out the shelter, and we do end up losing that game. But GG's to the opponent there into the final battle of this video. We lead into a shiny Ferrothorn. Once again, not great for me whatsoever, and they're actually going to throw their charge through straight away, which the previous Ferrothorn lead didn't actually do. So I'm actually going to shield there. I don't really think I should have done, but we're going to go for an Icy Wind. Icy Wind here is going to be shielded back from the opponent, so it does pay off. I'm actually not going to make it to another Icy Wind before they make it to a Power Whip, so I settle for a Razor Shell, but the opponent no shields. It does very little damage, and the opponent still will be taking me out with a Power Whip, but we have debuffed their attack. We're now going to come in with the Pumpkaboo, and I'm just going to let this first move go through. They actually just go for a Mirror Shot there, so not running Flash Cannon, and that's pretty big for me. At this point I'm thinking, can I just go for a full Astonish Farm Down? If they don't get a debuff here, I think I will be able to go for a full Astonish Farm Down and come out with so much loaded energy, and they get no debuffs in 3 Mirror Shots, which is pretty big for me. Now they come in with Empoleon. We're going to go straight for the Grass Knot. Grass Knot is going to deal big damage there. We're going to go for 1 Astonish, go for a Foul Play. Foul Play, of course, will be grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and at this point I'm actually going to stay in. I think my win condition here is if they've got a Lantern in the back, so I'm actually just going to shield this up. I don't want to take too much damage from Steel Wings on my Leleep. Foul Play will be taking out Empoleon, and it is a Lantern in the back. So we've seen already, we can tank 2 Surfs and the Spark damage, and of course 2 Grass Knots will certainly be enough damage to take out the Lantern. So going to go for the first one here, and actually I think by the time I get there I'm just going to try and go for an Ancient Power, see if we can get another unnecessary boost with the Ancient Power. So here, Surf, number 2, not going to take us out. They do get us into the red health range, but that's fine. Ancient Power coming through, will be taking out the Lantern, and we don't get the unnecessary boost, but I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.